strong, broad-shouldered father, with the hair as bright a red as hers, wasn't there anymore. He should have been right there at the end of the aisle, watching her with the little smile on his face that he reserved for what he called her feral child moments. What he called the times when she ran wild and free and unfettered by the expectations of a world that was inevitably going to come crashing down on her soon enough. Instead of her father, there was a pair of scuffed brown shoes that stuck out just past the edge of the aisle. They looked familiar. She'd seen them at home, in the hall. Suddenly gripped by the cold hand of caution, Ansie crept closer. Why were her father's shoes on the floor? Where was her father? Grown-ups didn't lay down on the floor the way kids sometimes did. They were too tall. When they did get down on the floor to look at something neat, they complained the whole time, saying things that didn't make any sense, like, "Ow, my back," and "When's the last time we vacuumed this carpet?" So her father couldn't be wearing his shoes anymore, because he wouldn't lay down like that. But the toes were pointed at the ceiling, and shoes only did that when there were feet inside them. She slowed down before she reached the shoes, before she could see the person, not her father, it couldn't be her father, who was wearing them. Something was very wrong. If he'd been playing hide-seek without telling her, he would already have popped back out to give her a chance to find him. And if he wasn't, he'd never have left her alone like this. She didn't want to reach the end of the aisle. She was suddenly gripped by the unkind conviction that if she did, everything was going to change, and she didn't want it to. She didn't want it to change at all. She had everything she wanted. She had a nice room with a bunk bed that was just for her, and walls painted her favorite shade of green, with yellow daisies stenciled all around the baseboards. She'd helped with the daisies, and her handprint was pressed next to the doorframe. Smaller than her hands were now, but still enough to make it clear that the room was hers. The space belonged to her, and no one was welcome there unless she wanted them to be. She had a pretty mother, with long dark hair, and a laugh like watermelon on a hot summer afternoon. Sweet and good, and oddly sticky in its own way. Her mother's laughter stuck to you, and it made everything better for hours and hours, even after it was over. And she had the best father in the world, with red hair like her own, although he had a lot less of it. He'd started losing his hair before she was born, and when she'd seen pictures of him from the wedding and before, where his whole shiny skull was covered up by untamed red frizzes, she'd been scared of losing her own hair for more than a week, until her mother told her that because her hair was curly like Aunt Sally's and not straight like Daddy's, it wasn't going to happen. Her father didn't laugh as good as her mother did, but he knew the best games, and he was always happy to play them with her. He didn't mind mud or mess or spending hours at Target while she ran around and looked at all the toys. She loved both her parents, and she loved her life, and she didn't want to lose any of it. She had the vague feeling that sometimes good things were only as good as they were because all the pieces had managed to line up just so. And if you took any of them away, it wouldn't be good anymore. Maybe not good at all. So she stood frozen a few feet from the end of the aisle, staring at her father's shoes and trying to fight back the panic that threatened to rise up and overwhelm her. Something was wrong. The feeling that something was wrong only grew when an unfamiliar adult voice asked, sharp and interrogative, "Sir! Sir, are you all right? Do you need me to call for—" Oh my God. "Someone call 911!